Hi, I'm Steve, and I watch a whole lot of movies, and sometimes when I see multiple movies made by the same young, brilliant man, I know that he is on the come-up, and that is absolutely the case with James Kicklighter, who just finished his directorial feature debut called Desires
of the Heart.
And this is a film that started back in 2005. I think you were probably still in high school.
I was still in high school. Desires had an interesting production history because the film had been started by its producer in 2005 with another director, with another set of actors, and after filming in India for a couple of days, the entire film and $2 million of financing collapsed, and she spent the next 5 to 7 years trying to reassemble the film, at which point I get involved around 2012 and I was able to finish it and start from scratch. Of course, we didn't use anything from the initial shoot, so that made it a very interesting film to tackle, one that had been in previous incarnations, previously announced and previously attempted. You've done your homework, you're good. I'm impressed.
This film has been described by a few, including yourself, as a crossover film. What exactly is this film crossing over?
A crossover film has two cultural elements. It's a film that has an Indian component, but it also has a domestic American one. That's to say that you're blending two cultures, because at its core, I think Desires of the Heart is a film about culture. It's about identity, and it's about the psychology of both. It's how we identify and perceive ourselves through the lens of other cultures and our upbringing. The lead character in that film, Dr. Chris Sharma, played by Val Lauren, is an Indian American who was raised in India but has spent most of his recent life in America, and when he is called back home for an arranged marriage, he's struggling with the concepts of identity. Is he American? Is he Indian? And how does he need to behave to be true to himself and to his family? And that's why I would define as a crossover film, something that tackles elements that are not strictly one culture or another.
And as far as working with genres, too, it seems that this film has kind of a smooth blend that kind of works in these supernatural elements or these almost thriller-esque elements into a love story.
When you blend those elements and you're trying to figure out how they work, the key to making it work, in my purview as a director, is that it has to be grounded in reality. Because the second that you don't ground the film in reality, you're going off into a supernatural realm, you're going into a thriller realm. It has to be at its core, why I said earlier, about this guy who's trying to figure out his life. Now, whilst he's trying to figure out his life, there might be things going on. But if you don't believe that performance is something being human and is something as being real, then I think that as a director, I've failed at my job.
A few things about
Cancer
is a 30-minute or
it's about 25 minutes.
About a friend of yours, is that right?
Yeah, a few things about Cancer is a film that I'm really quite proud of. My friend Caleb, who I hadn't seen in approximately 7 years, had announced on Facebook that he had stage 4 Burkitt's lymphoma, and for those of you that are uninitiated with cancer, it's something that there is no stage 5. When you hit stage 4, that's that or the end, and so it's very serious. And when Caleb put that on Facebook, I instantly had feelings of guilt that this was someone that was once important to me in my life, but I hadn't been in contact with, someone that I hadn't chatted with in a long time. So I reached out to him and said, is there anything I can do to help? And he sent me a message almost immediately back and said, I want to make videos to help my friends and family know what's going on with the process. And I said, well, let's take a step further. I'll help you do that, but in secret, we're going to make a documentary. So I made that film in secret for about 7 or 8 months before anyone knew exactly what we were actually doing.
And to me, the film was very kind of, when you get to from beginning to end, was kind of this major crescendo into positivity. Was that a product of editing, or is that just the way the story played out for you?
I think it's a mixture of editing and the way it was played out. It is a crescendo of positivity. I like that. And that's something that Caleb would be thrilled to hear you say as well. We, of course, when we set out to make the documentary, had no idea what the outcome was going to be, because at the beginning he's got stage 4. It wasn't until a few months into making the film that we knew that looked like he was going to be okay in the end. And so that presents an interesting challenge as a filmmaker. Obviously, from a dramatic perspective, it's better if he dies. And I don't mean that from the friendly perspective, because clearly as a friend, I did not want Caleb to die, but making a dramatic documentary, that to most filmmakers would be the answer. So when he find out he's going to live, obviously I'm ecstatic because he's my friend and someone that's been very important to me. But then you have a new filmmaking challenge to say, how do you make a film that is going to uplift and educate, but also keep the viewer engaged? So when we were editing the film, we really tried hard to structure it in a way where we did build that crescendo, so I'm glad you felt it.
Cancer is one of the obviously most talked about things. It's something that almost everyone deals with it within their family. What do you think that this film will bring to the cancer community or people going into this issue?
Well, I don't know what it will bring to the cancer community, but I can tell you what I hope it brings. I hope that it brings people a new perspective on what it means to have cancer. One of the things I discovered as we were making the film, and in general, when you know someone that has cancer, and most of us know someone that has had cancer in our lifetime, we don't really know what that means. We say, oh, they have cancer, it's awful, but we don't know what it's like to live that every day unless we happen to live with someone who has cancer. We know that they're going to chemo treatments, we know they're in a hospital, we know that they're going back and forth between there and the house, but we don't see that secondary side to it, that private side to it, the interaction between family members, the interaction between themselves and the hospital, the constant repetition of treatment, because as Caleb says, cancer is not really about fighting a fight, it's about longevity, it's about stamina, it's about waiting, and we don't see that if we don't have cancer. And I really hope that this film enables people that are getting ready to go through cancer, people that have friends with cancer, family members, etc. I hope this gives them that perspective that perhaps they don't have. You know, it may be that you have a screenplay or a project that you've been developing for a while. Maybe it's not moving forward. Well, what else do you have? You can't pin your whole career on one project. You have to constantly be reevaluating what is right for the right time.